Hello everyone, welcome to the channel. Today I'm going to be taking a look at the Marvel Comics Captain Britain Omnibus. And Captain Britain has been with us for a while. Bronze Age character, first appeared in the 1970s. The costume was a little different back then. This is his more modern, I guess you could call it, costume. He got this in the 80s. It's his classic look right here. Captain Britain is not as well known as obviously Captain America is or Captain Marvel, but I'm glad that Marvel Comics decided to give England their own superhero, Captain Britain. This omnibus is currently out of print. I don't know if they plan on reprinting it or not. If you can find one out in the wild at a, I don't know, flea market, garage sale or something, and can get it at a good price, definitely scoop it up. This goes for stupid prices on the collector's market, and I would avoid paying those prices if you can help it. When this first came out, it was $100, so I mean, it wasn't that cheap back in the day either. The creative team on Captain Britain was quite famous. You had Alan Davis, Alan Moore, Jamie Delano, and Chris Claremont from the X-Men. So a lot of goodness there. Here's the spine. I like Captain America. What am I saying? Captain Britain on the spine. And here's all the issues on the back. This collects Marvel Superheroes 377 to 388. The Daredevils 1 through 11. The Mighty World of Marvel 7 to 16. Captain Britain 1 through 14. New Mutants Annual number 2. X-Men Annual number 11, and Captain America number 305 and 306. So there's quite a bit in here. It's not really that big of an omnibus. I would almost call this an oversized hardcover. It's just not that thick for an omnibus, but that's what they decided to call it. Typical of its time, comes in black, just the silver on black imprint there. You've got the marbling effect, which is typical of its time. And then you've got the splash page of Captain Britain. Now there's a lot of people on the creative team of this, a lot of writers and inkers and colorists, letterers, lots of editors, because we've got so many different issues here, different titles. Alan Moore is the most famous of them, so is Chris Claremont, and then I think Alan Davis is probably the most famous artist. Now, this is Bronze Age goodness for you. Starts off in September of 1981 and carries through to June of 1986. Alan Davis does do a foreword, and so does Alan Moore. He does an introduction. You got a little bit here, more of an introduction. Just talks about Marvel UK. Here's episode issue number 377 of Marvel Superheroes Monthly. This is a UK comic. All these comics in this omnibus were not printed in the US. Marvel had a UK publishing arm, and they did their own thing. In England, they had weekly comics for the most part. I think in the 80s they had started putting out monthlies, because this is a monthly. But I do remember being a kid in the 70s in England for a while, and most of the English comics that I remember were weekly. And I can remember growing up on Iron Man and Daredevil. Trying to think who else. I think it was mostly Iron Man and Daredevil that I had gotten into. And they were, some of them were reprints, because like the Daredevil I remember reading were reprints from the earlier 70s. But what they had done is they'd taken the American comic issues and divided them up into weekly chapters, if you will. These are not. These are monthly issues. It says he's back, Captain Britain, new art, new stories, new costume, because this is the first time you see him in the Union Jack costume. Personally, I prefer the Union Jack costume. I like it a lot better than his original costume. Now, Captain Britain, probably most familiar to probably the X-Men readers who got into Excalibur. I like this splash page right here of his head and the cowl that he's wearing. This is from 1982. Again, it's still monthly Marvel superheroes. A little bit different than our own. They don't really have anywhere where it says who did the artwork and the writing and the lettering and everything like we're used to. They just don't credit the creative team. And I don't know why. Here's an interesting one. The first issue of the Daredevils, Captain Britain, Daredevil, Spider-Man, comes with a free badge. I remember some of the British comics, a lot of times they came with little trinkets and things to try and get you to buy that particular issue. Here is Captain Britain's older costume. Don't know if you can see it that well. There's more of the Daredevils. Again, these are not issues that we're used to seeing. Is this Betsy Braddock? Yeah, this is Betsy Braddock. For those of you familiar with X-Men, maybe you can explain Betsy Braddock a little bit to me. I know she's Brian Braddock is Captain Britain, and Betsy's his sister, correct? And doesn't Betsy Braddock become Psylocke at some point? Does anyone know Psylocke's history? My X-Men knowledge is not the greatest, especially when you get into the older years of, well, I don't know, older years, but when I was a teenager and the X-Men were around, I just don't remember Psylocke. I think she came along later. So I am no expert on the X-Men, even though since omnibuses have become a thing, I've learned more about a lot of these characters, especially the X-Men, because I've got a lot of X-Men omnibuses, and they're they're helpful in helping me understand the history. Now, like I say, the artwork is different. Here's Wolverine. This issue is The Mighty World of Marvel, featuring the Daredevils. And again, it looks like with this issue, when you've got different characters, Night Raven, Marvel Mastermind, Wolverine, and the origins of Albert the Mouse, they've got other characters featured in these comic issues. And some who I've not heard of, like who on earth is Zip Rogers? Maybe someone can explain that. The artwork's pretty good. It's a little different. There's Cloak and Dagger. I don't know how well Cloak and Dagger did in England. But these are good stories. I remember when Excalibur first started back in the 80s. And what attracted me to Excalibur was that Captain Britain was part of the team. Because I always liked Captain Britain. There's Mighty World of Marvel again. This one right here, this is number 1, Captain Britain issue number 1. And I do remember when I was a teenager, and this was 1985, and I was visiting family in England, and I remember picking this issue up in the newsstand section of a grocery store. It was a supermarket, and they had a newsstand section that had newspapers and magazines. And they did have some comics, and they had this one, and I remember distinctly this cover, and I had this issue, and I liked it. Brian Braddock, Captain Britain. Here's another picture of his old costume, but I like the new one better. So these are of the Captain Britain issues, is what we've gotten into at this point in the book. It's really interesting to see these British issues, because it's just not something that we ever got in in America. These were solely on the UK side of the Atlantic. They did not make it over here. So I was surprised and pleased to see that these issues, I like that splash page, that these issues made it into an omnibus over here. Still into Captain Britain. Oh, here we have the credits. Did they put them at the end of the issues? Well, that one didn't. It's just weird because we're so used to crediting the creative staff of these issues. Well, here it is, Alan Davis. So they're doing it sometimes, just not as often as we do. Now here we have an American issue. This is the New Mutants Annual number 2 from 1986. Now, I want to say then I'm pretty positive this is a key issue, and I don't remember why. I remember watching somebody else's YouTube channel, and they had this issue, and they were talking about it being a key issue, but I'm not sure why it is. If you know why it is, can you let me know? Because I don't know. I'm not sure that I had this. I don't think I did, but I remember the cover. Maybe I just saw it. Here's giant-sized annual The Uncanny X-Men, annual 11 from 1987. I was in high school in 1987. I don't remember this issue. But like I say, I didn't get into X-Men until I was much older when the Omnibus started coming out. I do remember having this issue of Captain America, and I got this issue simply because it guest starred Captain Britain, and I thought it was cool that you had kind of Captain Britain fighting Captain America and having a battle between them. I thought that was cool. And I remember I had this one too, because this was the next issue. And of course you got to collect them both, because now they're teaming up. And you want to watch that, not watch it, read it. Now here we come. This is the end of the issues they've collected. And we've come to the extras. And there's quite a bit of extras in here. We've got some sketches, cover with the original costume design of Captain Britain #1. That's not what they went with, but there's a lot of sketches. What is this? Not sure what that is. Oh, this is Marvel Superheroes 377. This was originally printed as a 6-page story because Alan Davis didn't leave enough room for dialogue. But it was relettered and reconfigured into 5 pages, so that's why we've got that in here. History of Captain Britain. Promotion. This is promotional art, promotional poster art. You know, they've got a lot of extras in this. This is quite generous for extras for an omnibus, because usually it's not quite so much in the way of extras. But I'm pleased that they have it. This is the cover of the Captain Britain trade paperback from 1989 by Alan Davis, and this is before Excalibur. There's his original costume. I mean, it wasn't bad. I didn't hate it. But I do like the Union Jack version. This is an essay by Chris Claremont from 1988, and then you've got the X-Men Archives Captain Britain #1 cover and color guide by Alan Davis. Same thing here, X-Men Archives. I guess these would have been reprint issues, the X-Men Archives. There's quite a few of those. In fact, I think that takes up the rest of the... No. Here's some splash pages. I guess this probably could have been the alternate cover. This is the one we got. Maybe, was this a direct market cover? Was there a direct market edition of this? This is the trade paperback, Captain Britain. That's the extras. So quite a bit. There's a lot of content in here. I enjoy Captain Britain. It brings back a lot of memories for me of my time in England. I spent several years over there on different occasions, growing up and as a young adult. Got family over there still. And I enjoyed it. So if you can find this and can get it for a decent price, don't hesitate to snatch it up. Hopefully, Marvel will reprint it and it'll become available again. Boy, I'd sure love to see a Captain Britain movie, but I I don't know. I they'd probably end up making an Excalibur movie before they did Captain Britain. But boy, wouldn't that be fun if they did? Anyway, thank you for watching, and I'll see you soon. Bye.